You're watching Let the Quran Speak. Now we answer questions we've received from you. If you have a question, visit our website, QuranSpeaks.com. Dr. Shabir, the question is, I'm considering getting married, and I'm wondering how much mahr or dowry is appropriate to request. I guess I'm not sure what the purpose of the mahr is. Is it a gift or security money? Should it be cash or property? And should it be given all at once? My family wants to ask for $15,000 on my behalf. Is this reasonable?
Okay, so let's talk about.
So this is a woman asking.
Yeah. So in terms of the purpose, this is not detailed in the Quran. The Quran takes for granted that this is a system in place. People are already, practicing this. We know in ancient times, way back before Islam, people were giving, the dower. We should distinguish between the English words dower and dowry. So the English word dowry usually means that a woman gives something to the groom. That's called dowry.
Okay.
As may be practiced in some parts of India to this day, where the girl's family is going to give something to the groom's family in order to make the marriage happen.
Mm-hmm.
Dower, on the other hand, spelled D-O-W-E-R, just to be sure that I'm pronouncing that in a way that everybody understands. So dower is the gift that the groom gives to his bride at the time of marriage. Now, in the Middle Ages, the dower could be like a large property. It could be like the ownership of land and so on. Of course, it could be a monetary gift as well. In the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or you could say just before his time, this was already in practice. And so the Quran is just simply solidifying a certain practice. And so references to it is already like an ongoing thing. So the Quran does not start by defining this is what should happen. So just briefly, for example, the Quran says, وَآتُوا النِّسَاءَ صَدَقَاتُهِنَّ. So give the women their portions or their due. And elsewhere, the Quran says that it will not be lawful for you to take back anything that you have given them at the time of marriage, unless, of course, they have committed some kind of flagrant indecency, in which case that means the marriage has collapsed and you deserve, in a way, especially if you've given a large sum, you deserve it back, or at least a portion of it. The amount that should be given is not specified either in the Quran or in any clear narrative from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. We can see some narratives about how women, like what certain women received at the time. And of course, there were paltry sums because the Muslims in particular, were
poor, yes.
Yeah, many of them were migrants they had left all their possessions behind when they migrated to join the fledgling new monotheistic community. And so they had to start from scratch and then develop their wealth base. So the one principle in the Islamic tradition is that we should not make the mahr is so prohibitive that people can't get married because they have to get so much in order to get married, especially grooms now in our present time. Sometimes we hear young men complaining, I don't have enough money to get married. Islam encourages us to get married as early as possible because marriage is the legal avenue through which to vent our natural desires. And if we close off that avenue, then the suspicion is, or the fear is, that people will turn towards illicit relations. And so it is better to get married early, as early as within reason. But what's happening is that because the requested mahr or dower is so, mahr is the Arabic word, we'd be using English words. So the mahr or dower is sometimes set at such a prohibitively unattainable level that young men are complaining they can't get married because they're fresh out of school. Maybe they have some debts from their study period that they have to pay off and so on.
And the financial situation now is very difficult for everybody. Like so many people are suffering.
Yeah.
And particularly young people.
Yeah.
But I guess the question then is like, what is the purpose of the dower, as you mentioned it? Like, because some women and the families of the women are thinking of it as security, right? Like something that will protect them in the case that maybe something goes wrong or something like this.
Yes. So as I said, the rationalization is not given either in the Quran or the Hadith, but some Muslim scholars have tried to understand like what is the goal behind this, because if we understand the goal, we understand how to set it, right, to reach that goal. So one idea is that, and this seems to be a very good idea, that is security for the woman. If a man marries a woman, then, in all of these societies in the past, traditionally he gave her something. Even in a modern society, he might give her a diamond ring, which is a store of wealth, though, of course, it's probably not perceived of in that way. Probably it's seen as like a token of love. In the Islamic tradition, it could be both. It could be security for the woman, also a token of love. And also the expression of one's seriousness in getting into the marriage. Like worst case scenario, you don't want that somebody marries your daughter and then, after having gone to bed with her, the next day he changes his mind and then he's gone. So if he has invested in the marriage by putting a large sum as a dower, then this becomes the woman's property to keep. And then if she has to start life afresh, especially in traditional times when probably virginity was highly desired, and a woman having already been in a marriage maybe would find it a little bit more difficult to find a new husband. So she would have some funds on which to live, especially at a time when women depended on their menfolk to take care of them, first her father and then her husband and so on. So in this case, she has some financial security in entering into the marriage. And it also shows the intent of the groom to stick with this marriage because he's investing in it. So it could be security, it could be a token of love, and so on. Now, how much should be set? So this is now dependent on a number of factors like the social conditions, the situation in which you live in general, the ability of the groom to pay, and also what the bride's family is accustomed to receiving. So if within a certain family, like it is known that our girls don't accept less than this, because that's the standard that we have set. If any guy is serious enough to propose marriage, he should come with this amount. Otherwise, forget it. So if that's their standards, they can maintain that standard if they choose. But of course, if the standards are too high, they may turn away some capable and very eligible bachelors, and they need to strike a reasonable balance. So somebody's asking, is $15,000 a reasonable sum? In our present context, yeah, it's not unreasonable. But of course, the other factors have to be borne in mind as well, the ability of the groom to pay. And you might want to assess his seriousness by other means, not necessarily by his financial outlay, but his religiosity, his commitment to faith, and his characteristic as a person, how he deals with you as a family, and so on.
All right. Thank you for that advice, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Muslim Media Hub, the new home of Let the Quran Speak.
Here we spread positivity and good. We help people experience the beauty of Islam and help them appreciate and understand Muslims.
This beautiful building we purchased at cost $2.3 million.
Yeah, we've already raised a third of that money, and with your help, inshallah, we can pay off the rest.
So we're looking for people who can give $1,000 each. If you can be part of the select group, that's amazing.
Otherwise, just please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help us continue this good work.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be a benefit to the Muslim community long after Safiya and I are gone.
Please support our work at muslimmediahub.com.
Your support is zakat eligible and tax deductible.
May Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.